Have you ever had the situation where you have maybe a wardrobe cabinet of some type, and when you shut the door, the top sticks out, or maybe the bottom, or maybe they both do? We're going to try to address that in the video that we have today. On this cabinet, we have what they call a wardrobe lock, so that the lock, when you turn it, as you can see here, we'll be able to lock both the top and the bottom. Over here's a strike at the top and a strike at the bottom. So when I close the door on my wardrobe, I turn the lock, and now my door is locked, top and bottom. It's really a good solution, and it's really easy to install this too. It might look complicated because there's a few pieces, but it's very easy. So let me go through the steps that you have to go through if you decide you're going to do a wardrobe lock on one of your cabinets. And before I press on with this, I just want to make it clear too that it doesn't matter what type of hinge that you have on your wardrobe cabinet, whether it's a European, it doesn't matter what the overlay is. This wardrobe cabinet will function no matter what the hinge is or the overlay. And so now what I'm going to do is take all the parts off and then proceed by explaining it step by step. Let's start by looking at the lock cylinder itself. This is sort of like the heart of the whole mechanism. It operates the whole thing. It's designed for a hole that's 16.5 millimeters in diameter. And I've done that. I've drilled that for you. It requires also, you can see this bit here, fairly expensive, 16.5 millimeter bit. And I drilled this hole that you see here by hand with my drill. And that fits absolutely perfectly into that 16.5 millimeter hole. And then you put your lock plug in. And that gives you a nice fit. So it looks pretty good in the hole. As long as this doesn't chip out, then you look pretty good. This is not my favorite way of installing the lock cylinder. My favorite way to install the lock cylinder is, as you see here, I drilled a 3/4 inch hole. It's a little chipped out, but what I see as the advantage, the manufacturer sells this thing called a bezel. And the bezel fits not in the hole, but it fits on the lock. So you get a nice clean look, and then you install your lock and you put the bezel in to cover up all the defects that you made. That's my favorite way to do it. So the lock cylinder installs, and then once it's installed, you can press on the bezel on to give a nice finished look. That's my favorite way. The bezel does give this clean look, but here's a second reason why I like the bezel. You put the bezel on and you push this into place and push the bezel onto the lock cylinder. It's going to hold that in place while you put the screws in and get it in place where you want it. And now a few details about the location of the cylinder on the door. It doesn't matter where you put it here, up or down, because you're going to cut the lock bars to fit. But the distance from the edge of the door this way, going in, that does make a difference. The minimum that you can be from the edge of the door to the center of the lock cylinder is 1 inch. That is for an inset door. If you're doing an overlay door, it's the overlay, how much the door overlays your cabinet, plus 1 inch. That's how you locate the center of your lock cylinder. And I've already done that. I marked it with the overlay plus 1 inch. And that's where I located the lock cylinder. I've already installed this once, so the holes are pre-drilled, and I can put the screws in for the lock cylinder. The next thing I'm going to do is cut the lock bar. So I have to know what my overlay is. I have an overlay of 1/2 inch, and I also have this strike plate, which is 1/2 inch. And so you can see I've drawn a line to represent the overlay of the door plus the bottom of the strike. That's here on the cabinet. I'm pretty sure that we need to know where to cut the lock bar. How long do we make it? And that is not a hard job to do. You see how the throw of the bolt moving up and down? Our measurement starts right at the bottom of this, right there, at the very bottom. And then we have to measure up from here, and then we measure up to where the bottom of the strike is. And that's how long we cut the lock bar. And so I already did that. I hope I got the right one here, because they're both pretty close to the same, but they are not identical. So if I put my lock bar on, that's the wrong one. So I did already cut the lock bar, so I can just test it to see if I'm in. And there it is. You see how the lock bar is just under the strike. So when I fasten this, it'll work perfect. Now we're going to install the lock bar support. And the lock bar goes through here, so I'm going to put the top one on first. The top lock bar support is in place, and now I can put on the lock bar. So watch how this has to go. In the lock bar, you see there's a hole here. That hole fits on this little tab on the lock cylinder. So I have to come in through here like this, and now I have to put my second lock support on and put the lock bar over the tab, and then fasten it with screws. There, the lock bar for the top is installed. It's actually going to function now. You can watch this. It's locked. Now we're going to install the bottom lock bar. Again, we have to calculate the overlay down here, plus 1/2 inch for the strike. And since I've already installed this, I have the holes pre-drilled, and I'm going to put the bottom one in right away. Just makes it nice. The next step that I'm going to take is to put the lock bar in place, but I have to put the lock bar support on first. And then I'm going to put this in here and put the lock bar over the peg. There. So I got that lock bar on, or the lock bar support. Hope you're able to see this, or I'm probably blocking the way. There. Lock bar support is in. And you can see it function. Well, there it is. Wardrobe lock is installed, and it works real good. Right there, see this? it's locked. I hope you like this product. It's an easy install, not complicated at all, just a little tedious to putting the screws on and everything, but it's a simple install. You'll like this product. And if you found this video useful, give us the thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe.